Yes, students, I hope you people have done the work, that is electronic configuration of all the groups, because without knowing the electronic configuration it would be very difficult to understood about all the blocks. So if you do not did the work, then please do the electronic configuration of all the groups separately, or if you will be getting any doubt, then please you can ask me. Or listen, students, whenever you will be doing the electronic configuration, kindly keep all the rules in your mind, that is Bohr principle, in which the electrons are filled according to the increase in energy level. Second, that is the Pauli exclusion and Hund's principle. According to that, only half filled orbital is more stable as compared to the pairing in which we have unfilled orbital. And always whenever we are filling the electron in any of the orbital, it should be, each orbital should have only the two electron which is in opposite spin. These things you people have to keep in mind, then you can do the electronic configuration. Okay, so please go through the electronic configuration of all the blocks. So let's start with the electronic configuration of element and the periodic table. So here, as we know that an electron in atom, it is a set of four quantum number, that is principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, then we have magnetic quantum number and spin quantum number. So here these quantum number, like principal quantum number, is represented as mean energy level, which is called as shell. Okay, with the help of principal quantum number, as it is denoted by n, if the value of n is 1, it means we are talking about a first shell. If we have n is equal to 2, it means we are talking about the second shell or third shell, and so on. Okay, so here it is very necessary to know about the quantum number also, isn't it? Now each shell has subshells also, or orbitals also, that is called as spdf, and with the help of this one only we are dividing the electron or filling the electron in these all subshell. So here let's have electronic configuration in periods. First we will talk about the electronic configuration in periods, then we will talk about the electronic configuration in group. So a horizontal row of a periodic table is called as period. Okay, so a period consists of series of element having same valence shell, means there are 7 periods in all, which are numbered as 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, so if we are talking about the periods, when we move from left to right, it is called as period. And whenever we are talking about period, like in a period we have lithium, in a second one we have lithium, beryllium, then we have boron, carbon, nitrogen, and so on. So here these all are having same shell, but here only the number of electron is going on increases. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the first period, so filling of electron in the first energy shell, that is n is equal to 1. So here this energy level has only one orbital. First period, here we have 1s, and therefore it can accommodate only 2 electron. Okay, it means that there can be only 2 elements in the first period, because it can accommodate only 2. That's why in the first period we have hydrogen and helium only. Second period, it start with the electron beginning to enter the second energy shell, that is n is equal to 2. So here we have 4 orbital, that is 1 for 2s and 3 for 2p. We know p has 3 subshell, that is px, py and pz. So 1 for 2s and 3 for 2p, total we have 4 orbitals to be filled, which can accommodate 8 number of electron, because each is going to accommodate 2 electron. So total we have 4, it means it can accommodate 4 electron. So it means that second period has 8 elements in it. Okay, if we are talking about the third period, third period, it begins with the entering the energy level in third, means n is equal to 3. So here we can call it as, or we can recall that out of 9 orbital of this energy level, like 3s, then 3p, and then 3d. For 3s we have only one orbital, for 3p we have 3 orbital, and for d we have 5. 5 plus 3, that is 8, plus 1 9. So total here we are having 9 orbital, and each orbital is going to accommodate 2. It means here the total is of 18 electron can be accommodated here. Okay, so 3d orbital have higher energy than 4s orbital. So as such, only 4 orbitals orbital means n is equal to 3 are filled before fourth energy level begins to form. Okay, so there are only 8 elements in the third period. Once again, now whenever we are talking about the fourth period, like n is equal to 4, it starts with the filling of 4s. Okay, so 4s orbital here, after the 4s, before 4p orbital there are 5 3d orbital which is to be filled. So in all 9 orbitals, like 1 for 4s, 5 for 3d and 3 for 4p has to be filled. So there are total 18 elements in the 4 period. Okay, and like that we are going on increases the number of elements. So we have to do till fourth period only, or I will tell you about the fifth period also. That fifth period start with what? It is start with 5s orbital. Okay, so it is also similar to that of the fourth period. There are also 9 orbital. One is for 5s, then 5 for 4d and 3 for 5p. So it is to be filled. So all over for 5s we have 1, then 5. So totally we are having 18 elements in the 15 period as well. Okay, so like that we are having these number of elements in different periods. So these are all about the period. Now now here we have the electronic configuration in groups. So group means what? A vertical column of the periodic table is called as group. Okay, so a group consists of series of elements having the similar configuration of the outermost shell. Means if we are talking about the group like lithium, then we have sodium, then potassium, rubidium, cesium, they all are arranged in a group. Why they all are arranged in the same group? Because the outermost shell, they in case of this one, the outermost shell are having a number of electron, that is only one. They all are going to have only one electron in their outermost shell. So on the basis of the similar configuration of the outermost shell, they are taken in a same group. Okay, so there are 18 group in a periodic table. Okay, so the element belonging to the same group are said to constitute a family. And here we have given a particular name to the family, like element of group 17 are called to be as halogen family. Element of group 16 are called to be as chalcogen family, which is oxygen family. Element of group 15, that is nitrogen, it is called as nitrogen family. Then we have carbon family. Elements which is present at the very right side of the periodic table, that is called to be as noble gases. So all the family has given some name. Okay, so these elements are arranged just below one another because on the basis of the number of electron present in their outermost shell. Now here let's start with the electronic configuration and the type of elements, that is SPDF blocks. So we know that elements in the long form of periodic table have been divided into 4 blocks, that is S block, P block, D block and F block. In S block we have 2 groups, that is group 1 and group 2. In group 1 we have lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. And in group 2 here we have beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, like that. Okay, so these are called to be as S block element. Why they are called to be as S block element? Because the last electron is going to enter into the S block, that's why they are called to be as S block elements. So here let's see some of the characteristics of S block elements. Okay, S block elements means the general electronic configuration of S block, it is ns1 to 2. Either it has 1 or 2 electron, because more than 2 it cannot accommodate. Okay, so the general electronic configuration for S block element is ns1 to 2. Second, they have low ionization enthalpy and high electropositivity. Ionization enthalpy, that we will discuss later. What do you mean by ionization enthalpy? It is the amount of energy which is needed to remove an electron. So here the removal of electron is very easy because it has 1 or 2 electron in the outermost shell. So to attain stability they need to have 8 electron in the outermost shell, but it has only 1 or 2. So to attain stability they can easily lose their electron. That's why ionization enthalpy of this one is very low. And they are highly electropositive in nature. It means they can acquire positive charge very easily by the loss of electron, because loss of electron is very easy. In that case, that's why they are called to be as highly electropositive in nature. Okay, next property of this one is these elements act as strong reducing agent. This is because these elements are highly electropositive and loses electron very easily. Reducing agent, what do you mean by reducing agent? That also we have done in class 10, but here the meaning of reducing agent is little bit different. Here the one which can lose their electron very easily are called to be as reducing agent. Okay, and the one which can gain electron very easily are called to be as oxidizing agent. So here the loss of electron is very easy in case of this s block elements, that's why they also act as reducing agent. Okay, next property, that the s block elements mostly form ionic compound. Ionic compound are those which can acquire some of the charges, like here they are going to have positive charge, it means they can form ionic compound. Next, they are the good conductor of heat and electricity. We also know that for the conduction of heat and electricity, they should have free electron on that, because this free electron only allow the electricity or heat to pass through it. So these all metals, whatever the metal we are talking about in S block, they all are having free electron on that. So because of the presence of either free electron or charges, they can conduct electricity and heat. Next, most of the metals of the block impart color to the flame. Here, this is very good property of these metals, so that whenever we are putting this type of metal, or when these metals come in contact with the flame, they release some type of color, they radiate some color. So actually, why they radiate color? What is the reason of the color? So we know that why any of the metal gives color, because here the energy, means as they get energy, they suddenly jump to the another level of shell, and when they come back, they radiate some of the light, and this light falls into the some visible range, that's why it impart color to the flame. Okay, next, they are very reactive metal. The metallic character and the reactivity increases down the group. They are very reactive. Why they are very reactive? Because they can lose the electron. To attain stability, they can lose electron very easily. That's why they are highly reactive in nature. And as we go down in a group, means when we come down from lithium to francium, here the metallic character and the reactivity increases down the group. Why it does increases? Because the size is going on increases, or as the size is increases, it means the attraction towards the nucleus is become decreases, and the loss of electron will become more easier as compared to the lithium. That also you have done in class 10. Okay, so the reactivity will also become increases as we are going down to the group. Okay, next property, that they are soft metal and with low melting and boiling point. Comparatively, mostly metals are very hard, but whenever we are talking about the metals of only S block, always keep in mind, students, that we people are talking about the metals which is present in S block. Like we have number of metals, we have metals in D block also, we have metals in P block also, or in F block also. But here we are not talking about those metal which is present in different group. Here we are talking about the metal which is present only in S block. These metals are soft metal, and they are having low melting and boiling point. Okay, so group 1 is called to be as alkali metal, and group 2 is called to be as alkaline earth metal. So here in this class we will be talking about two block, that is S block and P block. We have D block and F block also, that I will give you introduction of these all, because in this class we are not going to do the elements of the D block and F block. Then also some of the characteristic you people have to know about. See, next we have P block elements. Now, general characteristics of P block elements. First, if we are talking about the electronic configuration, so the general electronic configuration of P block is Ns2 P1 to 6. It means S is to be filled always, and in P, because it belongs to the P block, it means P, either P have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 number of electron on that orbital. Okay, so the electronic configuration of this one is taken as Ns2 and P1 to 6. Second, the metallic character increases down the group. As we are going down, here the metallic character is going on increases. Why does the metallic character increases? Because we know metallic character means what? means they are the loss of electron become easier. So as we are going down here, the size become increases. If the size become increases, then p block elements are what? P block elements are mostly non-metals. For the non-metal, they have to gain the electron and they have to become a non-metal and they have to be electronegative in nature. But as the size increases, the gain of electron will become difficult and the loss of electron will become easier. That's why on moving down, the metallic character increases. Okay, next is ionization enthalpy. Ionization energy is higher than that of s block element. Here the ionization enthalpy is more as compared to the s block elements. Why? Because we know s block element, it has greater size. S block element has the bigger size as compared to all the elements present in the periodic table. So because of the bigger size of the s block element, they can lose the electron very easily. That's why the ionization enthalpy of this one is very low. But if we are comparing s block and p block, so here the size is little smaller, so loss of electron is not as much easy as compared to the s block. So here it has more ionization enthalpy. Okay, next, they mostly form covalent compound. Why they form covalent compound? Because they are non-metals, we know. And if they are non-metal, means non-metal always they are not going to lose the electron very easily. They just try to share their electron. Covalent bond which is formed by the sharing of electron. That's why they mostly form covalent compound. Next property means some p block elements show more than one oxidation state in their compound. Yes, it is also correct. If we are talking about some elements of p block, they show different oxidation state. Like if we are talking about s block element like sodium, it shows the oxidation number of 1 only. Always it show one oxidation number. But here if we are talking about the elements of p block, some elements, they show different oxidation state. Sometimes they show +1, sometimes they show +2. Why does it happen? That also we will discuss later. Next is what? Oxidation character increases from left to right in a period and reducing character increases from top to bottom in a group. Oxidation means the capacity of oxidation. As we are moving from left to right here, the character oxidation character is going on increases and reducing character increases when we are moving from top to down. Here we have few more properties that p block element include both metal non-metals, but number of non-metal is much higher than that of metals, which also we know. P block, it is the only block in which we have all the type of elements. Here we have metals also, we have non-metals also, we have metalloids also. Okay, but rest all the block like s block has only metal, d block also has only metal, f block also has only metal, but p block is the only block in which we are getting all the type of metals. Okay, next property that they are acidic in nature. Nature also we can take out, means nature also you have done in class 10. How do we know the compound which is formed by these p block? These compound always show acidic nature. How? That we will do in the chemical properties. Whenever we are talking about the chemical properties of these, at that time we will do. Now see here, I will tell you just some characteristics of D block element and F block element. These things we do not have to do in this class. Then also you need to know about the introduction of this one. See, D block elements are also called to be as transition element because here only the changes is going to take place in the character of the element. So the general electronic configuration of this one is n minus 1 D1 to 10. N minus 1 means what? If the value of n is 3, then n minus 1, that is 2. But here in 2 we do not have D, that's why we will start with the 3. So if the value of n is 4, then 4 minus 1, that is 3, 3D. Okay, 3D and 4s, like that you have to consider it. And second, they are hard, malleable and ductile. We know D block elements are metals, so metals are generally hard, they are malleable also, they are ductile also. These are transition element, that's why here the melting point and boiling point is very high because they are metal, that's why they are good conductor of heat and electricity. They also show variable oxidation state. This is very important property of D block, that they shows variable oxidation state. Because of this property only they are taken as what? They are taken as a catalyst. These things also we will discuss. Okay, they form both ionic compound and covalent compound. Okay, both type of compound they form. Mostly they are going to form ionic compound but they sometimes also form covalent compound. Next, their compounds are generally colored. Color, why they form color, that also you know. The compounds are generally paramagnetic due to unpaired electron. What do you mean by paramagnetic and diamagnetic? So paramagnetic character means if any of the orbital has unpaired electron, it means if in a orbital we have only one electron, and though this one is called as unpaired electron, so because of the unpaired electron they show paramagnetic character. But if any of the orbital has two electron, maximum two electron we can feel in an orbital, isn't it? So if we have two electron in any of the orbital, it shows diamagnetic character. But if we have unpaired electron, it shows paramagnetic character. Okay. Next, most of the transition metal act as catalyst because of the bigger size of this one, or variable oxidation state they use as a catalyst. Like iron we are using as a catalyst, copper, nickel, these all are taken as catalyst. Okay, so this is very important property. Next, transition element form interstitial compound and alloys. What do you mean by interstitial compound? This topic we will do in class 12th. Here you do not need to know about these things, because if I start explaining this, then it will be too late, because already we are late. Then we have to do the syllabus very fastly. But if you need to know, then you can personally contact me for knowing about these things. Okay. Now, characteristics of F block element. General electronic configuration of F block element, that is n minus 2. Again, if we have the value of n is 5, then 5 minus 2. Again 5, we do not have 3f, then we can take a value of n as 6. 6 minus 2, that is 4. So 4f 1 to 15, 6d, and that is 5d and 6s, like that. Oh, okay, so here the general electronic configuration, that is n minus 2 f1 to 14, n minus 1 d0 to 2, and n is 2. Next, they are heavy metals. The elements which is present in F block, they are called as lanthanoid and actinoid. So they are taken as heavy metals. Next, they have high melting point. They possess variable oxidation state. Their compounds are generally colored. They have a tendency to form complexes. Complex compound they form, that also we will discuss. Most of the elements of actinoid series are radioactive. Most common oxidation state of this group is +3. They are mostly paramagnetic in nature. So these are all about the introduction of all the blocks, that is S, P, D and F. Now we have to start with the S block. Students, atomic or periodic properties of element, here we have to discuss. Here we will start with the physical and chemical properties of the S block element. We know physical property is what? Physical property means the property that size, mass, volume, melting point, boiling point, these all are called to be as physical property. And physical property of any of the element is depend on the electronic configuration. That's why you need to know about the electronic configuration. Okay. And whenever we are talking about the chemical properties depends on the number of electron present in the valence shell. That's why on the basis of the number of valence electron, it is arranged in a group. Okay, so chemical property is based on what? It is based on the number of valence electron. So here let's start in trend in physical property of element. Here for the physical property we will be having melting point, boiling point, vaporization, energy of atomization, okay, electronegativity, electron gain, enthalpy. So we will first start with atomic radius. This is very important topic that we people have to know, atomic radius. Until we know about the size of any of the element, it would be very difficult to explain about these. Okay, so how do we know the size? We know that all the elements, they are spherical, means because here we are talking about the in 3 dimension. So in 3 dimension the circular shape is taken as sphere, and because they are present as a sphere, so here we can take, or we can see the size of this one on the basis of their radius. So here we can define this one as the distance from the center of the nucleus to the outermost shell containing electron, that is called as the atomic radius. Or the radius we can calculate by taking two atoms together, and the distance from the one nucleus to the another nucleus, here we are taking this one as diameter, and on dividing this diameter with 2 we will get the radius of one atom. Okay, so with the help of this one we can take out the radius, but here actually we cannot calculate the exact radius of any of the atom because of certain reason. Here we do not know that where it is actually present, because we know that these electrons are always in a motion. So that's why whatever the radius we are having, that is not accurately, then also we are taking after this much of difficulty or after this much of limitation, then also we are having or we are taking the radius of the atoms. So here we have types of atomic radius for different type of elements. Like we have metals also, we have non-metals also, and we have some of the elements which is present in the gaseous form also. Okay, so if we are talking about the metals, we know that metals are just touch each other, they do not come over or overlap each other, they simply just touching one another. So here the radius of metal can be taken as the uh, here we do not have the structure for taking out the radius of metal. Whenever we are talking about the radius of metal, here atoms are just arranging by touching one another. So here the radius can be calculated by taking the distance from one nucleus to another nucleus and taking the half of this one, then we will get the radius of the metals. Okay, for covalent compound or covalent radius, we know that non-metals are always present in their diatomic form. Like if we are talking about chlorine, if we are talking about oxygen is never present in O form, it is always present in O2 form. So here the radius of this one can be calculated, because here these two atoms of oxygen, they just overlap with one another, overlapping is there because they are present in the diatomic form. So here the distance can be taken, again the distance from the one nucleus to the another nucleus we can take. So it is defined as the one half the distance between the nuclei of the two covalently bonded atom of the same element in a molecule. So this is generally done for the non-metals. See this one, here we have the structure where we are taking the covalent radii or van der Waals radii. Covalent radii for those which is non-metal, like chlorine or like nitrogen or any of the element you can take. But if we are talking about the van der Waals radii, what do you mean by van der Waals radii? So van der Waals radii mostly we are taking for the gaseous atom, because we know that gaseous atom, they always are apart from each other, like noble gases. Or chlorine, it is also present in the gaseous form. So here whenever we are taking out the radius of the gaseous atom, so here we cannot take out for one diatom. Here we have to take the distance from see in this structure we have two different atoms, in which one is present in the diatomic form and another one is present in the diatomic form. So the distance from the one nucleus to the another nucleus, that is 360 pm. With the help of this one we can take out the van der Waals radii of any of the atom. So van der Waals radius is defined as the one half the distance between the nuclei of two identical non-bonded isolated atom or two adjacent identical atoms belonging to two neighboring molecule of an element is in the solid state. Okay, that is called to be as van der Waals radii. So with the help of this one we can calculate or we can measure the radius of any of the metal, non-metal or gaseous state of any element. Now see students, here we have many more things to explain, but I think the video is going on, the time is exceeded too much. So for today we have this much only. In the next class I will explain from variation in periods. Students, I hope you understood all the thing, but still if you will be getting any doubt, then kindly please contact me. I am always available for you people. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you so much.